Le sentiment, l'amour, c'est un exemple de nom. Ouais.
Un pays.
Un pays.
Les grosses bananes.
I got involved in French immersion when I was first in kindergarten, partly because both my brother and my sister were in the program at the time, and my parents really thought that it would be beneficial to us if we started speaking a new language at that young age.
French Immersion is a public education program that is open to all students. Generally, if students have a strong grounding in their first language, they have a good chance of being successful in the French Immersion program.
I'm a parent at Colberry Wilson. I have two sons who attend the school, one who is in the French Immersion program already and entered in grade 1, and one who will be entering it in grade 1 this upcoming September. We selected French Immersion for our boys because they were both very strong language learners from a young age and felt that it gave them an advantage and an opportunity to acquire a second language and become bilingual in an environment that was very conducive to that.
It took from grade 1 until grade 2 to make it so I was comfortable with French, and now I have a good time in French.
There are 3 points of entry into the French Immersion program. They would be kindergarten, grade 1, and late French immersion. In kindergarten and grade 1, the students make such significant gains in their French language skills that we do limit the entry points to those first 2 years of school. Students are also welcome to join the French program in grade 6 and late immersion, and that program caters to students who haven't had previous French language exposure, and they are at the level of their peers once they reach the high school level.
So the French immersion is designed for all students. Students learn the language as if they were newborns learning their first language. So a lot of the initial language is oral, lots of gestures and modeling, and students enter in the kindergarten with no experience in that previous language, and therefore parents don't need to have that knowledge either. The classroom set up so that all of the tools and supports are there for the parents. I think in the past we just think the French immersion was meant for a certain type of student, and the research shows that that's not substantiated in any way. There's no characteristic that makes one student a better candidate than another for the program. So if a child is experiencing difficulties, we offer the same supports we would offer an English program. So we have a learning support team here that looks at where the child's experiencing difficulties, and we try to support as best we can within the school.
For parents who don't speak French, most of the activities are done in class, and there's structures in place to help those parents out. There's things on the internet, but most everything is covered in class. It's an in-school program, and parents usually learn with their children, and they are fascinated at how fast the kids surpass the parents' learning, and they're thrilled with that. One of the interesting factors at French Immersion in Red Deer Public is that many of our past students now have their children entering our school. So I've been teaching for 26 years now, and it's great to see some of my past students have their children in my classroom. It shows how successful of a program we are.
We do a really good job of taking care of our students as they leave us from grade 5 and transition onto middle school. We take them over to the middle school throughout the year in grade 5 so they can do some activities with the teachers and the students there. Lots of French cultural and language activities to get them excited about French immersion at middle school and just to get ready for middle school in general.
When we first left elementary school, they had tons of times where we just came here and got introduced to the students. We played games, we met everybody, it was great. Coming to middle school, I developed a deeper understanding of French. We spoke French in every single class, the teachers were great, and we got to switch teachers too, so each teacher had a different way of teaching us French, which was really interesting. We learn a lot about the French culture just in class, and we have a Quebec trip coming up, so we're learning about that before we leave to our trip. I've known about it since kindergarten. It's been like a huge thing. Stay in French, you get to go to Quebec, and I'm really glad that we get to go this year.
The French culture is taught in French immersion in a variety of ways. So whenever possible, we partner with the Canadian Parents for French or the other French associations that we have available to us here in Red Deer. We sometimes go see authentic French movies at the theatre. We participate in Carnaval and other community events that are happening. We also try our best to really incorporate authentic learning materials. We will try to read storybooks that are written in French from French authors from Quebec or from France, and really point out the cultural things within our reading material and our resources to the kids as we go, so that they can gain an appreciation for the culture in general.
The classroom is very dynamic. We start with an oral-based learning approach because it's much like learning your first language. So we do a lot of question and answers, orally answering, orally giving answers, and it is that focus to which we move gradually over 6, 7, and 8 to a more reading and writing production-based model. But it is very much that active dynamic, lots of games, lots of theater pieces, music, singing. It's a real fun, dynamic way of learning in terms of late immersion, but also in the early. The key is to infuse that culture of French into their learning.
It's very hands-on, very collaborative. There are students who are definitely engaging in technology and seeking answers to questions they have themselves. They're very motivated individuals who have a very good peer group connection with the people around them.
Our French immersion students have quite a few advantages that they can access. First of all, they're going to be part of a small learning community within a large school. There's a dedicated group of teachers that are always trying to improve and provide them with the best possible education that they can have. We're a school of 1,700 kids, and with that comes a wide variety of options that they're allowed to take. We have an excellent fine arts program, excellent athletics program, band program. The opportunities are really endless for our students, and our French immersion students can tap into that.
Well, any of our French immersion students and language students have the opportunity to travel to Europe and actually put into practice or be in the places that they've studied in social studies classes or in French classes, as far as instead of taking things from the books, from the pages and the screens, to actually being there and seeing what we've studied in the past.
For children to learn a second language and do it well, they need to listen to train their ear. They need to speak, get as much practice as they can, read out loud, and that's kind of it. So learning a second language is such a gift. Go for it.
I'm extremely happy I stayed in the program because I think it has brought a lot of new and exciting opportunities into my life, and I'm really happy that I can say that I'm bilingual.